Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learnable Computer Science. This is calculator time. So if you haven't watched the video, you if you haven't did the project, please don't watch this video. End right now, please, and try it. And if you only after you try to watch this video, please, because projects is so important for learning. So if you haven't done it, please do it. If you have done it, this is the code that I've done. But if you fulfilled the output and if you fulfilled the specifications, you're done. Good job. Congratulations. So let's go through my implementation and answer any potential questions that you may have. And if you have any more questions after this, please be sure to email me at saladkanmuri@gmail.com, or you can join one of the weekly tutoring sessions where we basically answer your questions on the Learnable website. So please be sure to join that, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, let's get started. From line 1, I'll put my name, I'll put the calculator, and then I said what it does. This is completely optional. I did not say this in the project specification, so don't worry about this if you haven't done it. But I did it just for this is good coding practice. So that's why I did it. But this is required. After every single function, you have to have a comment above it to describe in very simple terms what it does. This is required because this is amazing coding practice. We'll have a whole nother lesson later on at the very end of the course on best programming practices. So please be sure to watch that. That will not have any homework. That's more of like a leisure watching one where I just go through all like the types of stuff, which is very useful. But I'll kind of describe why it's very useful. For right now, just trust me. Please include comments after every single function. Okay, so addition, you get two numbers, gets a total by adding them and returns the total. Hopefully now you're starting to get the function rhythm. This is the parameters, this is the return. It does the calculation and returns it. So whenever addition, parentheses, num1, num2 is called, it will replace that entire call with total. Hopefully you understand, because that's what we did for the past few classes. And this is same for subtraction. Subtraction of two numbers multiplies two numbers, divides two numbers. So hopefully that makes sense. Now let's go into the complicated part. So let's do this a little bit later. Let's go through this a little bit later. So let's go through when it first starts. So the Python does not run these, right? Because they're functions, they only run when they're called. So these are the first lines that are being called, right? So times is equal to 1. So this is start a while loop. This is what the program runs. The while loop should be as short as simple as possible. I told you that in the project specifications. So okay, times is equal to 1. User input. Would you like to use a calculator? Yes or no? If the user input is yes, then times is equal to times plus 1. Because now remember we're keeping track of how many times the user is using it. This is exactly how we use it. We just have a counter variable, and then we just increment that each time the user says yes. And then option is equal to print options. So now let's go into it. So print options. Let's do this. So right when remember print options is being called. So we ran until here. So print options being called. So now Python will jump to this function. So let's go through this. So here we print 1 dot addition 2. Oh, that's a mistake. 2 colon addition, 2 colon subtraction, 2 colon multiplication, 2 colon division, and which operator would like to use. And then based on that, based on 1, 2, 3, or 4, the user will pick either one of those 4 numbers and it'll return that number. So that means if the user picked 1, we go into this, option is equal to 1. And then it does a calculator do calculation with the option. So if option is 1, right? Next line is do calculation. So now let's go into do calculation. You guess num1, well, what is the first number that you want to calculate? Num2, what is the second number that you want to calculate? Total is equal to 0. So if option is equal to 1, remember the option, we passed in the number. That's example of parameter. If option is equal to 1, do addition. See, here we call the addition functions. You see that? You gotta think in the function type of way. And then option 2, you do subtraction. Option 3, you do multiplication. Option 4, you do division. And then the answer is the total. Remember, you're declaring total here, and then your either total is going to be either one of them, and then the answer is the total, and then you just print the break. So this is done, and then again it'll ask, would you like to use a calculator again? So if the answer is yes again, it'll go through the user input will be yes, and it'll go through all of this until the user says no. So now this is printed after. So once the user presses no, right, this while loop will stop executing. So now it'll be this. Now I'll run this. So if times equal to 0, so if the user just for some reason run the program and says they don't want to use a calculator, it just prints an empty line and says you have used the calculator 0 times. Congratulations, and thank you for using the calculator. So let's try running this. So let me run it. Would you like to use a calculator? I would not like to use a calculator. And then you have used the calculator 0 times. Thank you for using the calculator. So now let me run it again. Let me clear that terminal. Just it's a little bit more readable for you all. So this time I want to use a calculator. This time I want to subtract. I want to subtract 10 with 5. And the answer is 5. Would you like to use the calculator again? Yes. And then I pick multiplication. 3, 3, and the answer is 9. Would you like to use the calculator? No. And then give use the calculator 2 times. And thank you for using the calculator. So this code works. So basically, this is the first code that runs. And then from this, it uses these functions. And then do calculation uses these functions as well. So total, I have 6 functions. You can use less. But again, this project specification is used to make the while loop as short as possible. You can make the while loop shorter, but this is what I've done. And you could have done this multiple ways. So if you have done this differently, don't worry about it. So that's project 1 completed. So see you in the next video where we go on to a whole new journey. So see you there. Bye-bye.